Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is what is it? Friday, August 11th. I have to check every week. So, how you guys doing? Let me know if you can hear everything okay. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It is another Friday on the longest running live video in the history of the lifting world, or something like that. I've been doing Massive Iron Live every Friday. Forever. I appreciate you guys joining me. If you're new here, please know that I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to help. Diet, training, nutrition, form, off topic, whatever. So if you're new here, don't be shy. Post up a question, and I am absolutely here to help on anything. Don't feel like if a question's been asked 1,000 times before that you can't answer it. Back in the days of the old internet forums, the V Bolton forums and communities, sometimes when noobs would come on and post questions, people would give them crap. It would be kind of like, hey, this question's been asked 1,000 times before. Go hit the search button. I don't ever want anybody to feel like that here. So if you have a question, post it on up. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Again, I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And if your questions don't go through, try shortening your question or entering it again. You can also head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, slide into my DM and post your question. I answer every question posted on Instagram. And besides that, a quick commercial. Then we'll get into things here, guys. If you need coaching, there's a coaching tab right over here. You can go to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Hit the coaching tab. I'm pretty full right now. I took on one client this week. I had one client off this week, but something's always going on in the world of coaching. It's a business. People are always coming and going for various reasons. So if you're interested, hit me up. I would love to work with you. I don't just check in once a week on coaching. I check in every single day. I take coaching seriously. It's what I do for a living. I've been coaching for a very long time now. I've been coaching, started with the platform coaching and powerlifting. I'm not specifically a power lifter, although I have a lot of experience coaching powerlifting on the platform, but I help people with all sorts of goals, whatever their goals are. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, male, female, weight loss, body transformation. A lot of men and women assume that I just work with people that want extreme body transformations or extreme degrees of muscle and strength. And that's not true. Most of my average clients, a lot of them want muscle and a lot more strength, but I'm just helping people improve on a daily basis. And I take coaching seriously. I try to build a relationship with people. So if you are interested at all, you can just head over to superlivingtoday.com, check out the coaching tab, etc. We also have teammassiveiron.com, teammassiveiron.com. You can join Team Massive Iron. If you're tired of all the nonsense on Facebook or other social media platforms, please check out teammassiveiron.com. We have a really good community. I work really hard to keep conversations going. This is a community. It's not just a coaching platform, but you also do get micro coaching, you get form checks and advice directly. So it's a really good value. There's a small fee, a gatekeeping fee, but we need to keep this in place to keep out, the riffraff on the internet, etc. Also, real quick. Workout, check out the workouts tab and the apparel tab if you need some pretty cool workout gear. I'm not an apparel company. I'm not trying to make $1 million off t-shirts, but I have some pretty cool stuff. Check that out. And if you need workout ideas, check out the workout tab below. So I'm going to babble on just a little bit before we get started about a couple of things. A couple of things I saw on the internet this week, and then we'll get rolling. In the meantime, post up your questions, please, and I will get to them. Post up as many as you want. So I was watching a video on Chris Williamson, one of the channels I follow, and Chris they were talking. It was a short video, and it was talking about how sometimes on social media it seems like everybody's mad or crazy, right? Like you can go on social media and it just seems like there's a high percentage of people that are, a little bit like, I don't know, how would you say it politely? Like really reactionary, really negative, really, I don't know, borderline unsettling, right? So what Chris was saying, and it was an interesting point, and I'm just babbling on, so I hope you guys don't mind my little story, but he was saying that basically the people that have important things to say usually take their time and think through their words, and they don't just always spew out things. And this is a generalization, but basically the point was like 80-90% of what we curate, what we look at on the internet is just stuff people spew out without thinking, and that people that tend to have a lot of extra time and a lot of strong opinions tend to appear like the majority on these types of platforms, like Twitter and YouTube comments and that sort of things, because they have a lot of free time, they have really strong opinions, and they tend not to really care. They tend just to spew and then think later. So we kind of get the impression that there's this really high degree of unsettling views on social media, when in reality it's a smaller percentage putting out more posts per person, more comments per person, whereas the person that's really busy or has a career or has kids, they're not on there like spam posting. Anyway, how are you guys going? I'll tell you one more story and then we'll get rolling. I have something that I don't know. The best you can call it is a very hyper-reactive airway. And during trail running, if I suck in a bug the wrong way, if I suck in a hair, if I breathe the wrong way, my airway locks up in like an asthmatic attack. 2:30 the other night, I was sleeping, and I just breathed the wrong way, and my airway seized, and it literally feels like this, like I can't get any air in. I sat there like a half an hour, like standing in the doorway, wondering if we were going to have to call 911. That's how bad it gets. I get these several times a year. And I'm literally sitting there in my doorway, doing this. And the funny thing about these attacks is that, even when you think they're done, if you clear your throat or whatever, it can kind of come back. And I literally didn't get any sleep the night before. And yesterday was my wife's birthday. So I kept her all up half the night. And, I think I was up for like 3 or 4 hours, just trying to be able to breathe. So that's my story. All right, let's get into lifting. Just a reminder, if you post a question before live starts, you get a chance to win a free shirt, hoodie, way, or Team Massive membership. Nice typo. A little bit of multitasking this week. So hang tough. If I run into a good question, I'm just going to, give out more than one. So, all right, what do we got here? Dumbbells and donuts. I always say dungeons and dumbbells. Sorry. First, happy Friday, you filthy animals. Wishing you and everyone in Team Massive a great weekend. Thank you, sir, and I appreciate your constant contributions to the group as well. Tim is a member of Team Massive, and Tim, I sincerely appreciate your passion for lifting. You are constantly hitting PRs. You're very attentive on your nutrition, and it is a pleasure to watch, Tim. You're gonna go to big places. Just be patient, trust the process, enjoy the process. Happy Friday. I hope I don't get kicked off again. Let's hope not. How long would you say it took you to find your coaching style? Well, the thing about my coaching style is I didn't I put out a ton of content before I coaching wasn't on my radar, right? I just started writing articles, I don't know, 2006, 2007, 2008, creating workouts that I tried, right? I I wasn't trying to be an influencer or a coach. Like my bulldozer system or my rest pause system goes way back to like 2007 ish, and I hesitate to give years on live video because if I'm wrong, we don't. Somebody's going to figure it out and correct you. It was 2009. Yeah, well, it was somewhere way back when in the Wild Wild West, right? But I came up with bulldozer training way back around that time, and I put out an article, and it's something I ran for a year, right? I ran for a whole year. It was a very limited rest pause style of training. So back then, I was putting out a lot of workouts, but I was running them. It was a great time for me to be a writer. I got to write for Muscle and Strength and Critical Bench and Female Muscle, and all these other places, Muscle and Brawn. And I got to make workout systems and try them. I created the Drunk Russian system, the Drunk Russian program, which was training 5 days a week with 1 to 2 sets per day. This was way, way back when, before I think anybody else had come up with a full body every single day. And there's nothing new in the industry, right? Somebody must have done it before, but so much of the stuff that I came up with, I was in there testing, right? It was like a test lab of madness. And I was trying this myself. I messed around with everything from West Side to a lot of chain work to powerlifting periodization. So the point here I'm trying to make is when you guys come here and you see me just talking, I want you to know that there's a mad scientist lab, that took place, that is taking place. Still to this day, I try new things. Whatever I give people, has been tested in the lab or is theoretical based on things that, I came up with in the gym. Like the 5, 10, 10, 20 bench protocol that is extremely successful. I put that together at Muscle and Strength and tried it myself, for a long time. And it's great at rocketing the bench up. It really is in the short term. So my coaching style is everybody has to start at like point A. My basis was having a lot of different, you could say I dedicated my life to the studying of workouts. It was always my passion, studying workouts. All the old school magazines, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, studying workout systems, studying workout structures. So when I came to coaching, I had a complete training philosophy and a vision of like the big picture. What are the main pillars of success that drive success for the average individual? Now, we also have to be pragmatic when it comes to coaching or helping each other progress. We have to have a reasonable starting point, but we also have to have flexibility and understand that the individual, you guys, need to make changes based on needs. One of the pillars of success I talk about is evolving training based on needs, right? And a lot of people, they're like, what does that mean? What does it mean to evolve your training based on needs? Well, needs can be anything. I had somebody come the other day and message and say I'm over squats. This was on Team Massive. They're just chewing me up. Well, move on. This is evolving training based on needs. Have a period, a season in your life where you don't do squats, but take that as a challenge, right? What can I do? What devious stuff can I put together that just completely crushes everything without squats? Like when you guys view programming, right? We don't like, oh my God, I got to take out squats, panic, right? That's what I do when I look at building a program or building something for a client. It's like, what pieces do we have and how can we crush things with those pieces? So don't panic when you want to try a season of training without squats, right? Don't be like, squats are taken out. I'm in trouble. Oh no, right? Think of it differently. Think of it like, how can I remove squats, but turn this into a challenge, turn this into brutality, turn this into something that is going to really be a game changer? Like how can I use leg extensions and leg press and hack squats and all this kind of stuff and just put together something devious? So I used to do like leg presses, superset with leg extensions or lunges to failure. Or I used to do box jumps before leg extensions, just all kinds of possibilities in the world, in the training world, as long as you have some sort of a progression indicator and you have the basic pillars in place, you're going to be good. And sorry, Tim, I'm rambling on, but coaching style is always evolving. There's always things that I try with clients that we start to find out over time aren't always the best. And sometimes I run into new exercises that I really like the barrel press. And we're, basically in my mind, I'm liking the barrel press. So I'm like, let's get rid of flies out of our programming. Let's get rid of pec deck and cable crossovers for more of my clients. And we'll try barrel press, right? So not everyone gets the same, changes. Obviously, everybody is unique, but there are different trends and changes in the way I approach things. And W. Dale, we'll get to this comment later, but he said, we'll just pull that up now. You can build great legs without squats. Yeah, absolutely. You can build great legs without squats. The key in all things is to, what can I just absolutely destroy? How can I destroy this workout? Oh, we have a guest in the studio. We're live on Ohio with a fat sausage. We've been interrupted with a sausage attack. This is Bubba Sausage.
Big old Bubby.
Oh, Bubba.
And
this is Bubba, the OG sausage. Bubba's panicking right now. He can't see Mama. She's right
here's
here.
Scooty Rudy.
That's Snoopy Doo. That's Snoopy Doo. Snoopy's a big old horse. Bubba's more of a loaf of bread. Bubba's the loaf of bread of the house. He's the quiet Zen master. He's like Yoda. Right? Okay, Bubba. And this is my guy. This is Buddy Boy. Come here, Buddy Boy. Come on, Buddy Boy. You can do it, Buddy Boy. Oh, Buddy Boy. This is my boy. You can tell he kind of is attached to me a little bit.
Oh, my big boy.
All right, enough of the sausage. Let's get rolling. What are you doing today other than
2 appointments?
Okay. So this is my lovely wife, Fiona. We imported her from Australia. Oh, careful. And she works harder than anybody I know. It was your birthday yesterday. You want to come squeeze in?
I missed my Zumba guy.
You guys want to sing happy birthday? It was her 27th birthday yesterday. As everybody knows on the internet, my wife is super younger than me, at least by 30 years, right?
Yes.
And actually, should we say your age?
I don't care. I don't care if people know how old I am.
Yeah. She's 47.
47 now.
47.
Big 47.
She's
Yes.
47. And you work incredibly hard. This morning, you got up at like 6 o'clock. You were chasing chickens around the yard like Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. I'm
Right.
doing the.
Right. No,
the
you
stairwell.
what was you normally in the morning, you normally work out, you do your muscle building workouts 3 or 4 days a week,
4.
and show us your big juicy biceps. Yep.
That's my big. And then when I go this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
They're there. They're very big and
juicy.
hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So then after that, you do what in the mornings?
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I do cross training. Tuesday, Thursday, Zumba class. Saturday mornings, Muscle Max. And then I do 4 dancing classes.
Yeah. So she stays pretty busy.
And then I work.
And then you work.
Yes.
All right.
And now I'm starving, hungry.
Starving, hungry. All right. All the sausages, move your butts.
Stay there.
All right, guys. Keep your questions coming.
Coming back. Quick, boys, come on.
All right. Where are we at? Sorry, guys. Where are we at? Rico, good morning. Rico, Yvonne, good morning. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Let's see. Dumbbells and Donuts. If you watch these every week and you're not a part of Team Massive, what in the bleep are you doing with your life? Please consider joining TeamMassiveIron.com. It's not like I'm giving you guys a pitch to make some immense amount of money, right? Team Massive isn't a money maker. It's not, just another sales pitch. It's a community. And one of the benefits of being in a community is that you get daily support and accountability. And being a part of something bigger is good for our mental health. So if you guys are struggling, just consider joining Team Massive. Stein, how's it going? Stein, happy Freitag. I keep hearing that flat bench is obsolete. No, whoever says this stuff, this is, you got to, these are the types of people that you have to be really careful filtering their advice. Flat bench is not obsolete. When you come to working your chest, you have basically horizontal pressing, right? Horizontal against, if you were standing, you were pressing against the horizon. And people are like, why is it horizontal if I'm lying on my back? But when it comes to working your back, there's all kinds of great tools. Starting with the deadlift and the barbell row and the dumbbell row and the T-bar row and the seated cable row and the machine rows. And then you have the vertical pulls, lat pull downs and pull-ups and all kinds of amazing exercises for the back. And then for the chest, beyond like the isolation ease, like the pec deck and cable crossover and dumbbell flies, which are okay. They're, you have presses. You have press variations. You have dumbbell bench and barbell bench, and you can do a neutral grip football bar press, and you can do incline, decline. You can do Larson press. You can do close grip. You have all kinds of press variations. So when somebody says the flat bench is obsolete, basically, if you take the flat press out of the equation, there's what do you have left, right? Do we arbitrarily move to a slight incline or a slight decline, more tricep focus? This is idiot speak, right? It's social influencers speak. It's let's get views speak, and it's a pile of crap. So anybody that says it, you need to just have your say in the comments. This is nonsense. We don't remove a solid exercise choice. It is not obsolete means it's like outdated and I have a better way. Like, no, you don't. It's a quality exercise. You should only do incline. No, that's just somebody's bias based on if you do incline because of the angle and you can up. No, when we talk about optimal, and I hate using optimal because it's influencer speak, but optimal is a quality variety of exercises. So if you wanted optimal, or if you wanted the opposite of obsolete, the opposite of obsolete would be something that had a really good exercise selection. What I did back in the day was workout week one, I would do flat bench and then incline dumbbell second. Week 2, I would do incline bench and then flat bench dumbbell second. And then I would work in some other chest stuff behind it. So we were basically hitting the chest over the course of 2 weeks with a quality grouping of exercises. So a quality grouping is great. I get great chest and tricep soreness just from flat bench alone. I cannot speak highly enough about flat bench. Do you have to do flat bench? No. But it's certainly not obsolete. It's a very potent tool for chest building. I can feel the break in my inner chest right here, right? I can push against it. I can feel right here. I can feel where my chest picks up the muscle. And it's almost all just from flat benching. I really don't do a lot of incline benching anymore. I don't like getting dumbbells up for incline dumbbell press. It's not that it's not a good exercise, but this is evolving training based on needs. I don't like to get dumbbells in a position for incline. It's just harder because I'm moving, I have to get 100-pound dumbbells in place, and it's just more challenging than flat bench. So anyway, it's not obsolete. This is idiot speak, and that might sound offensive. Anybody that says it might get triggered, but it's nonsense. We always have to be really pragmatic and really reasonable. And we don't remove a reasonable exercise. Like if somebody came along and this is the sort of stuff that happens on fitness, in the fitness world, somebody will come along tomorrow and make some big influencer and make the most amazing video you have ever seen on Zercher squats or zombie squats, right? Where you put your arms out forward in the bar and like, this is the most amazing, and this has been a game changer. And I think this should be a part, and it's making squats obsolete, the zombie squat or whatever. And then people will kind of rush in, jump in, and there's an excitement that builds. And then all of a sudden you get an overreach by certain people in the community. The zombie squat is the best for quads, and the squat is obsolete. Like, no, it's not. No exercise, no reasonable exercise is obsolete. So anyway, that is my spiel. All right, I really want to progress my pull-ups. Currently only training them body weight, bulldozer style. That's Russ Paw style for anybody wondering. How and when would you add weekly volume to this? Well, the first thing you need to understand is there's some lifts that are going to progress slower than others. This is a generalization, but some guys are really good at advancing in pull-ups, but they are what I call a unicorn, right? They're very rare. They're guys that can rapidly advance in pull-ups really are just built for it leverage-wise and weight-wise, and just they just have a natural propensity to crush the lift. But for the rest of us, this is going to be a movement that naturally progresses slowly. And that's something we have to, for most people, again, this is a generalization, but we have to understand that, number one, there's a good likelihood it's going to progress slowly, no matter how much we try to add volume. If we add volume, is it worth the time investment? Is it really going to speed up the advancement of the pull-up, right? So these are questions we have to process. And the answers are usually you can add a lot of volume in, but that doesn't mean it's going to be expedite progress by any more than 5 to 10%. Let's say you added 10 reps in pull-ups this year. Doesn't sound like much, right? Well, if you take that over the course of 5 to 10 years, you end up being able to do like 3 sets of 10 on pull-ups with 90 pounds, really tight, clean reps. So that would be really good strength levels after 5 to 10 years. If you had to spend 5 to 10 years training them 2 to 3 times a week to get them an extra 10% faster towards that goal, is the time investment worth it to you? Okay. That's what we have to process. We have a tendency to be like, the quick fix is add volume. The quick fix is just add volume, right? I can speed it up, right? Well, that is a muse, right? It is like it can lure you in. It's like a dangerous siren, the siren song. It can lure you in, and it can sing you these false, give you these false hopes. Adding in volume is not inherently the cure. And even if yes, you can add volume in and specialize in the short run, but you have to understand that the return on time investment is probably going to be minimal, right? It's probably going to be exceptionally minimal. Do you want to spend 5 to 10 years doing that? I would rather see you do, like specialization periods of 3 to 4 months, maybe once a year, but it's really not going to expedite things. With that said, if you want to add pull-ups, if you want to specialize, right? I would do them every third day, 3 times a week, kind of block style or bulldozer style, and look for adding plus ones over the course of a week rather than hoping to add a rep every set, because that's a tough game. If your pull-ups are like 3x10 and you add a rep to just one set every week, after a year, you're going to be a monster on your pull-ups. So we have to understand that pull-ups are going to probably advance slowly. More than a lot of lifts, lat pull downs and pull-ups really hit soft walls rather quickly. Like, I don't know about you, but you can get on your lat pull up if you're a noob, and like after a year, all of a sudden you're not making any progress. I haven't really made any substantial progress at all in the lat pull down in like 15 to 20 years. A lot of it has to do with just the leverage setups of these cable systems, and it's really easy to get up to speed. And then once you get up to speed, it can become very, very difficult to progress because things just spiral out of control progressively. So understand that vertical pulls generally are one of the toughest types of lifting patterns to add reps to, and we have to be okay with that, right? We still have to stay in the grind and go after it, and there's no reason to take them out. We still have to stay in the grind, but not every lift is going to progress at the same rate. Your bench might be like this and your pull-ups might be like that. We have to be okay with that. That's just how lifting goes. Raphael, how's it going, Raphael? How do I keep my workouts from becoming too much or too big when I cut off exercise instead of adding more and more to the list? Well, first off, we need to prioritize the major areas we want to focus: chest, back, shoulders, quads, hamstrings, and arms. Then we need to get that all in the skeleton of our program. We need to pick our exercises for each: chest, back, shoulders, and quads. Those are the 4 big hitters. We need to program or pick our exercises for first, and then we fill in the gaps with hamstrings, back, and triceps. And then from there, we fill in our time with abs and calves and rear delts and traps and forearms and whatever else you want to fill in. And we have to understand that sometimes doing 2 to 3 sets per week on abs is just going to have to be the good solution, because we don't have time to work everything for 9 sets. We're also going to live in the gym. So sometimes when it comes to more minor areas, and every time I call a muscle group minor, somebody's like, that's not a minor muscle group. Like, just, it isn't a general sense. So relax, right? By minor, I mean, if you do a lot of big compound lifts over the course of your week, your core is going to get worked reasonably hard. Is it going to get worked as hard as we probably need it to get worked? No. But you have that 80% base in, and then from there, If you can't get in 9 sets of ab work a week, 3 sets is okay. So a lot of it is an art form, and you have to kind of study how everybody else builds the core of their workout structure, right? We have to build the core of our workout structure, or see how others build the core of their workout structure, and then how they add in all the peripheral stuff. Does that make sense? All right, I almost drank from the wrong side. All right. A lot of great questions coming. Matthew, I'm doing your 3-day-a-week bulldozer. Can I substitute sumos instead of conventionals? You can. Understand that sumos are kind of a different beast. They're going to be less lower back stress. They're probably going to, still be solid for the upper back. You can. There's no issues with doing that. I would probably also encourage you guys to consider rotating in, a couple variations. What you doing, Snoopy? What you doing? Maybe hex one week and sumo the next. But yeah, you can run in sumo. There's no rules. As long as you have enough regular back work, you're going to be fine. Rosie, sorry. I want to say Rosie Muscovy. That sounds good, but it might be Rossi Muscovy. Sorry. I'd like to hear how you pronounce your name, to be honest. Hey, Big Hairy Ugly Dude, I just hit my rep goal at 25. Good work. That's strong work. How much should I increase? 5 pounds. Always increase the minimum. Allow your connective tissue to adapt and adjust. Don't take big jumps. It's not going to speed up, progressive overload. Take small jumps, reasonable jumps. The minimum. Always the minimum. You're not going to slow strength by chasing the minimum, by increasing in the minimum. Is it possible to develop good chesticles if you own? Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Absolutely 100%. Dumbbell bench, barbell bench. If you just did flat bench, flat dumbbell bench, then a barrel press, and then maybe, an isolation dips or pec deck or whatever, or machine chest press, iso lateral machine chest press, you'd be fine. Absolutely fine, 100% fine. That's what I do right now. Dumbbells and donuts. Uno of 2-0. How many sets would you uno of dos? How many sets would you typically expect 100 rep rest pause set to take? It's 1 set with rest. So, you like if you're doing 100 rep burnout of something, like if I'm doing 100 rep burnout of curls, it's, I get to like 15, then I hold, and then I don't count time, right? I'm just trying to survive. It's like running a marathon. I'm trying to survive. I'll do 5, 7 more, hold, 5, 7 more, hold, that sort of thing. So don't try to analyze or quantify or structurize something that's meant to be like a free jazz song, right? A free jazz song is something you experience. This is an experience. This is a brutality fest, right? This is like going to a death metal concert and being in the pit, right? This is something you experience. You're high and you're drunk. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to sound like Dr. Mike there for a second. I don't partake. I don't have time. Just for anybody that's curious, but it's an experience, right? And don't try to quantify or structure. Go in and experience. The goal is hard work, so don't try to analyze it. Try to experience it. And would adding this in once a week on an off day, I wouldn't do it on off days, but you could. Is it going to help arm growth? 1%. It's it's icing on the cake. These are sorts of things you do at the end of your workout when you have time and energy. You're like, I have a little, like 5 joules of energy left, right? I'm going to do this at the end of my workout just to get everything out of the muscle, all the glycogen out of the muscle, everything, get it out of my system, right? I have a little bit of energy left and I want to do like a finisher. So we look for like, is there X percentage of increase I'm going to get when doing this? We got to stop thinking in terms of formula. We have to stop thinking in terms of benefit. Hard work always has benefits, right? We always push as hard as we can safely on that day. That is optimal. So maybe your hard that day is 48% and no finishers. And the next day, maybe it's 107% and a finisher, right? But as long as we're pushing hard, safe, in a safe manner, that's optimal. So, we have to keep our mind focused on that. Boiling down your question is hard work beneficial, right? Yes, all hard work is beneficial, but is one component of hard work beneficial? It's like saying, is a single stroke in a masterpiece painting or a single note in a guitar solo beneficial? It's the big picture, right? It's the overall structure that we need to worry about. It's the composition, the greater composition of the workout that is what's important. Does that make sense? Big Bill Baker, a friend of mine, recently did his first powerlifting meet, 1200. That's good. 1200 is kind of like the gold standard. Not a lot of guys are ever going to get it. Not a lot of guys are ever going to get it on the platform. So it's good. And Wilbert, I see your questions. Don't worry, I'll answer everything. So if anybody answers questions in the comment section, always know I'm going to answer them for you. So don't worry. A friend of mine recently did his first powerlifting meet, hitting 1200. Wouldn't know it from looking at him. How does powerlifting? Well, I'd like to look at him, right? I doubt he has 13-inch arms. There are things I can tell Bill that, he's going to have a pretty decent squat. So I'm thinking he has at least 23 and a half, 24-inch legs. Some guys are built stronger, right out of the womb. I'd like to know his weight as well. I don't think he's 173 pounds, right? So I'm starting to fill in, I start to fill in gaps. Like he's probably 198, 220, maybe even 240. But I doubt he's like 160, 170. You know what I'm saying? So he might be a little more chunky monkey. He might have a little bit more mass buried under the fat. When I was bigger, some of the guys assumed I didn't have any muscle. Bill, like guys that are, I think we overestimate how big naturals look, and we have to look at like the numbers. Like you can have a 16 and a half inch arm and, you don't look like a Ronnie Coleman, but it's going to be enough to get you these strength levels. So we have to kind of be very analytical. Does that make sense? I know he doesn't have 12 and a half inch arms. I know he's on 173. So I know there's some size there. He might be 240, 250, and to have some muscle buried under there. These guys, when they rip down, if they rip down, to look like stage ready for bodybuilding, let's say they did, they'd probably look a lot better than we expected. So we really have to take a really analytical look at their muscle size. Does that make sense? because you can take a natty and add some chunk of monk on there, or you can take a guy with, if he was lean, that had like 15.75-inch arms lean, and he might not look all that impressive at 24% body fat. He might not, but that's enough for those strength levels. Does that make sense? Haru, what's going on? Happy Friday. What's your favorite tipple for a special occasion? Being alive is a special occasion, but man, I don't know. Like, there's no real special occasion for me. If I'm doing something like with my wife's birthday yesterday, and we went out for a nice dinner, I might get an expensive whiskey. I might get an expensive whiskey. Like I might, you go to a whiskey bar or a bar that has a lot of whiskeys. Like there's a bar in Dayton called the Century Bar, just all whiskey, right? There's, everything you want, bourbons and Irish whiskeys, and everything from the bottom to the top, from Tullamore Dew on up to, top shelf, things that are going to cost you $120, $150 an ounce. So I'm definitely not stretching my budget up there. But if I'm doing something special, I might try, an ounce or two of a very, a more elevated, more top shelf, more rare whiskey, just for the experience. That's, I know some people don't get it, spend 20, 30, 40, $50 on something like that, once or twice a year, but that's what I would do. I'm leaning more and more. I don't drink a lot of spirits, so very, very rare. Like I got a bottle of, a really nice whiskey that I wanted to try like 4 or 5 years ago for my birthday. It took me 3 years to work through that bottle. So it's very rare. Right now I'm leaning towards scotches. I like the peatiness of a scotch. I like whiskeys, but there's something personal I find appealing about scotches. The variety, it's the contrast between one scotch and another is a little bit more dramatic, but either way, I kind of like the peatiness of a scotch. So I've been leaning more, in that direction. And, I find that even what somebody would consider a moderate to low carb scotch, I find to be more enjoying than a moderate to low carb whiskey. Even bourbon. I'm not the biggest bourbon fan. Arut, do you think it's a good time to switch programs after a 2-week vacation? Assuming they ran their program for months before, yeah. Anytime you get a natural break in the ebb and flow of life, it can be a good time to change programs. You want to run a program basically probably about 3 or 4 months minimum before you change things up. The first couple of weeks, this is a generalization, but it's going to be an adaptation period, where you're getting used to the workout split and the demands and doing this lift after this lift and so on and so forth, right? So the first couple of weeks of a program are kind of like, getting your sea legs, so to speak, getting your legs underneath you. And then from there, we have, we're up to speed, and we're going to have 3 to 4 to 5 months of running the program hard. And then maybe, we reassess, do I want to continue bulking? Do I want to continue using this program? Do I want to change variations? Now, when you change programs, usually there's not a lot of variables that are changed, right? Anybody that works with me from a coaching standpoint for a long run knows this, that there's some things you just, you can change things, but at some point, are we just making up stuff, right? But when it comes to changing a program, it's a good time to change direction when you have a break in life or you're exiting a cut. You don't really want to change programs on a cut, transitioning to a cut, unless it's a more moderate program. But yeah, that would be a good time. John, do you still weigh food? I never ever weighed my food. I had one food scale in my life. I think I tried it back around 2000 for a day. I don't weigh. I'm just a general ballpark guy. Vince the lawyer. I actually was checking out your channel, Vince, before I hopped on. Because you never know what you're going to get when you see these channels. A lot of times I don't get a free second to actually check things out, and I saw you actually had content up, so I didn't get a chance to check it out. But it's always good to see another content producer. Big Tim, is it normal to look back at the video for some of my compounds and feel like you could? Yeah, I mean, every set's going to be different, Tim. I mean, when I am in the gym working out, not every set is pushed that's supposed to be pushed to the limit is pushed to the limit. Sometimes there's a minor tweak. Sometimes there's a distraction. Sometimes I just feel my energy not there. Sometimes I need a mental break. We do what we can every single workout, but there are a lot of sets that maybe we leave a rep or two in the tank over the course of a year that we maybe could have gotten more. Tim, you make very good, consistent progress, so don't sweat it and don't beat yourself up. What are the advantages? What you doing? What are the advantages of running a lube program as opposed to upper posterior? That's a very good question. An upper posterior, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with it, you can check it out on my website, superlivingtoday.com. There is a workout. You can check out my massive collection at superlivingtoday.com. Or you can just check it out. Everything's free on my channel. I make videos on all this stuff, and it's all free. I think I have a video where I build an upper posterior live on video. So an upper posterior is basically upper, which is chest, shoulders, and arms in the massive iron world. Posterior is legs and back. And then you do another upper variation, another posterior variation. We have some different exercise choices. Now, a lot of people, not most people, but some people don't like doing legs and back on the same day because it can be very, very brutal. Right? When you do legs, you do the big hitters, and then you kind of get you move on down. You can do squats and leg press, and man, that was hard. Now I get to sit on a chair and do leg extensions, right? Mentally, the leg extensions feel easier, or the leg curls feel easier. So you kind of transition to, you do a couple big hitters and you transition down. That's on a leg day, like on a lube, or on a back day as well. On a upper posterior, you might have to do squats, and then barbell rows, and then RDLs, and then seated cable rows. And some of the setups can just feel more brutal. So the only advantage is if the upper posterior feels more brutal for you, then you might want to break it up into a lube, which is legs, upper A, back, extra upper or upper B. The only downside to a lube, if you want to call it a downside, is that you must train 4 days a week so you can get in your legs and back once a week. Big Josh Megaroids. Finally, I got a chance to catch Massive live. Hope things are going well, Josh, and I know you had some struggles with workload and employment and all that kind of stuff. So, just hope everything is going good. I'm gonna pick a winner for a T-shirt here. Do you think there is a big difference between running on a treadmill? Yeah, there is. We might not notice it, but a treadmill or a pavement is going to be harder on the joints, hips, knees, and ankles than on a track, a softer track, or on a trail. So, I mean, when you're younger, you can get away with, running more on hard ground, but it's just something to be aware of. We have good, better, best, and we want to take care of our body. And best is always going to be running, on something that's not going to beat up our body. So just keep that in mind as we age. It's nothing urgent, but you might want to transition a little bit. Luke C, do you have any experience on thoughts on heels elevated squats? I've tried them over the years. I don't have any issues, reaching a reasonable depth. So I don't really need to do them. Don't really feel driven to do them. Can they be yeah. Well, I don't know why they would be a leg machine substitution. You mean going from squats to heels elevated squats? Is that what you're saying? Anything is a good choice. Any form of squat like that is going to be a good choice for the home gym. Bubba, what are you doing? Digging a hole? You gonna go through the carpet? You ain't gonna get through the door that way. Look at him, Bubba. Stop digging in the carpet, you dummy. So you could try a more Olympic style squat, with Bubba. Stop digging in the damn carpet. You can try more of a closer style squat with the heels elevated. Play around with it a little bit as with all things. Luke, I'm going to give you the winner chicken dinner. Luke, hit me up on Instagram at Ben the Barman or email me benthebarman@gmail.com. I'll give you a t-shirt, hoodie, weigh, whatever you want. So hit me up. You are today's winner. Big Jonathan. Can a beginner pack on 10 pounds of mass in his first year? Yeah, absolutely. Possible, yes. You have to train hard, nail your sleep, nail your nutrition. Definitely possible. Stein, how's it going? 30K steps. That's a lot of work. When I was running 2 hours a day, I'd have to, to get that much, I'd probably have to run 3-4 hours. That's a lot of steps, my friend. Big JP. Tips on benching when the bench in my gym is low and can't do you don't need to worry about leg drive. Leg drive, forget leg drive, guys. No, you don't need to go to Larson Press. You're like making this huge leap from one extreme to another. And leg press is not required. Leg press, all you need to do is have your feet planted. I don't do leg press. I'm there to build hypertrophy. I'm there to build muscle. Freaky D, who benches a shit ton more than I do, commented on my recent video about, I was talking about leg drive, and he said there's a reason, or my I don't know if it was on my Instagram post or a YouTube video, but he was basically saying there's a reason that a lot of big benchers do a lot of rep work without leg drive. You got to build that base. You don't need to make that jump. Just bench with your legs planted. You don't need leg drive. I really, if I could just urge you guys to just stop using leg drive. Somebody's going to get upset and take that the wrong way. I'm not saying it can't have benefit when you're trying to push for your 1 rep max in a powerlifting meet, but for training, give it up, guys. You don't need to do it. It's a waste of time and energy and focus. And it's not a magical bench building tool, right? You don't need to go to Larson Press. I wouldn't go to the Larson Press as my only bench. No way. You just need to bench with your feet planted normally. And then if you want to add in a Larson as an assistance, you could. But, then we're getting into programming. Your issue is the gym is low or your bench is low and you're worried about leg drive. Forget leg drive. Love the lube split, but some weeks I can't make it. You said some. I mean, if you get more than like 8 or 9 days out from a leg or back workout, you might want to swap a back exercise in your leg day and a leg exercise in your back day to keep the train moving. What would you say are some overlooked aspects of maximizing a gaining phase? The biggest one is consistency in nutrition. I don't know how many people I've worked with over the years that train hard and trying to get them to submit their weight. It's easier to try to push a hippopotamus up a greasy slide. A lot of people want to lift, but they don't want to even focus on calories, or they get lazy on calories, or they act like monitoring calories is some elaborate fiasco, and all the excuses come out. And if this is you, you're your own worst enemy. It's just the reality. You don't have to weigh food. You don't have to make any food changes. You just have to have an awareness of your consistency and make sure the scale's moving. So that's the most overlooked aspect. People just lift and assume the muscle is going to get packed on, and they could care less about precision when it comes to nutrition and moving the scale in the right direction, or the fear of weight gain. So we're just not going to gain weight at all, or we're going to use it as an excuse to not track. And guys that don't track their workouts are having awareness of where they were last time. If you go into a set today and you have no idea how many reps you did last time, you need that. You need to know what I benched 150 by 7 last time on this set. That gives you mentally, okay, today I want 150 by 8. Does that make sense? So having that mental connection, knowing where you were, giving yourself the platform to, build and something to aim for is a huge thing. All right, guys, we're about an hour in. I'm going to have a quick sip of my Monster, and then we'll get rolling. I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions, so keep them coming. I need more caffeine today. Oh, I got a bonus in here. I thought it was out. I got this Genki white one sitting in the bullpen. Probably been sitting behind my desk for like a half a year. Big Boss Man. Thoughts on pyramid training versus doing various sets of an exercise? You mean like straight sets? Doesn't really matter. I mean, every exercise is going to be different, so pick what you like on that exercise. And just have a progression approach. That's as simple as it gets. There's no magic way. If you like one exercise, you don't have to apply it for every exercise. I do a lot of heavy lifting while twisting and tilting at work. Very intense. My ribs on my bottom and my lats are destroyed. Makes me realize how little twisting the gym prepared me for. Yeah, I mean, when you get out in the real world and do functional movements, and I hate to use the word functional because it's such an overused word, but there is some benefit to doing various calisthenics bodyweight work in general in life, because lifting is very controlled, should be very controlled. And real world movement is much more pragmatic, explosive, unique angles, unique movements, right? Not always optimal bracing, not always optimal leverages, so doing stuff like that, even adding in conditioning work, like sandbag work or carries, or just, I don't know, you could go on with endless examples. Gym training, muscle building training is very different in nature from this. So if someone did have time to add in a little bit of conditioning work every week, and wanted to be a little bit more well-rounded beyond just the, what muscle does this work bodybuilding world, which I'm not putting down at all. You could add some very unique movements in. I'd probably go more moderate. You don't want to go heavy with these unpredictable type of movements. But they certainly challenge anybody that's done any of my clients that go off and say they're going to be moving this weekend or whatever. They're going to be sore in ways they didn't know they could be sore. Typically, and it's from all these unique movements, even though it's not a lot of heavy necessarily lifting. Raphael, if the government whistleblower is telling the truth and aliens are real, all I care is that they are muscular and huge. Don't give us the ugly gray aliens. Well, if they actually did make it here, they're probably extremely advanced. So they'd be like the cricket, right? That can jump like I don't know, how far can a cricket jump on those little scrawny legs? So they're probably more advanced, so they can probably generate more power than we can on those small ass, ugly ass, anorexic, ugly gray alien legs. Tim, my YMCA bought a safety squat bar. Let the shenanigans begin, right? Let's see how many people can trash that. Finally doing heavy squats again. Boy, I suck. Just be patient. Don't rush. Take your time. Seal the, the easy, plus ones, and just don't rush yourself. Big Josh Megaroids. Are we lacking exercises that train twisting of the core? I wouldn't say lack. There's, if you do like a duck walk, or you do any of these, like a crab walk or a burpee, or any of these weird, unique, I say weird, I don't mean in a negative way, unique. We're not talking Dr. Joel Seedman, right? You do any of these unique movement patterns and they're going to get you sore in a new way. Does that mean we need them for hypertrophy? No. The history of hypertrophy has established we don't. Even the history of strength training has established we don't. And sometimes we can really panic and think we over need this stuff and somehow it's going to be magic for filling in the gaps on strength training, and it's somehow going to bring our squat and bench press up 30 pounds if we just add in weird core rotational twisting exercises. Do you need them for muscle and strength building? Generally not for the goals of the average individual. Can you get some benefit out of them and be a little bit more safe and prepared, with a little bit of that? Absolutely. Don't go overboard though. From a well-rounded conditioning standpoint, just kind of transcending bodybuilding and muscle building, adding in some of this work is certainly not a bad thing, just to be a well-rounded physical specimen, like, somebody that can, it sounds silly, but, since I've ventured into the ultra running world, now we have Pete Rubish and we have Mark Bell and we have all these other guys. And, when I was doing it, there was like, oh my God, you're going to lose all your gains and all that kind of stuff. I got to tell you, you can be well-rounded physically. Running, lifting, strength, muscle, calisthenics, body control. If you have time, it all comes down to what you have time to do, right? There's always benefit to expanding your horizons, but it all comes down to what time, what's the time investment. Your view on heavy duty. I just made a video about this. What was the day? It premiered on August 7th. So I have a video on August 7th, 4 days ago. You can check that out. That covers all my views on heavy duty. Big Bluegill Greg. Every time I hear that, I think of Wisconsin because of bluegill. Every time I go fishing in Wisconsin, I think all I catch is bluegill or a couple walleye or catfish. Catfish, yeah. I like to use a landmine for rotating under load. It can be done higher low. Yeah, like a wood chopper type of movement or high to low, whatever. I also use it for anti-rotation. Sounds good, man. Whatever you enjoy, do it, as long as it's physical and you're not getting hurt. Big Tomas, thanks for all the help. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support. I'm working on getting my bench to 185 by 5. Good goals. I'm currently doing 135 by 12. The biggest one is consistency and nutrition. That's your platform. You need to have good, consistent nutrition, and you need to be consistent most of the time. Without that, you're just going to put yourself in a hole. So make sure your calories are reasonably consistent. You also want to have in a good base. It goes without saying that strength builds strength. So make sure you're hitting everything outside of benching well, your arms, your shoulders, your overhead presses, your back. That whole mentality will just help build a good foundation for overall strength. And maybe try a little bit of concurrent periodization, 2 different approaches, either the same week or every other week. Like my 5, 10, 10, 20 approach is a good one to try. Owen, morning, Steve. How you feeling? A little bit tired. I'm still recovering from my asthmatic episode, and I'm feeling a little bit, like ready for the weekend, a little bit off kilter, but good. And thank you. I appreciate it. Owen's a client of mine. I have nothing but respect for Owen. Just a hard worker, super dedicated, super strong, and just a superstar. There's guys like that, I want to get out and travel more next year and get around and have some people come down to my gym. And I hope I can meet some more of you guys in the coming years, because I'm a fan of a lot of you. John, currently running Power Muscle Bulldozer. What would you do after we stall in power movements? There's no real stall, John. I don't like that word. Naturally slowing doesn't mean anything's wrong. Naturally slowing means you're doing something right. You just got to stay in the pit and you keep driving on. It doesn't matter what program you're in. Like at some point, adding one rep to bench once a month is normal training. That's 60 pounds a year added to your bench. That's going to be a good rate for a lot of you, right? So that's the nature of lifting. We aren't stalled. That's the grind. That's the nature of the grind. We don't need to jump programs. We don't need to do anything different. Big James, what's going on? Welcome to the party. Big John, I want to live my best life. I'm seeing some good questions come in. I want to live my best life, but also focus on muscle building. But it feels repetitive. Okay, so I would need to know more about what you mean. You don't. Here's the issue I think we're running into. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but do you believe to build muscle that you need to be super precise and micromanage everything? You don't. My training and nutrition is pretty easy and reasonable. You have to go to the gym. If not, you're not going to have the best. I mean, we all know there's benefits to strength training. And if you're not strength training, then you're not living your best life. So we're assuming you're going to the gym. You're going to have to train hard, right? Will that feel repetitive? Yes. There are things we need to do in life that are certainly repetitive that keep us in good health. I need to brush my tooth every day. If you're from Kentucky, brush your single tooth. Just a bad joke, right? But it's repetitive. Repetitive. We need to go out and walk, move, get out in the sun. That's repetitive. Not always exciting, right? Weight training is very much punch the clock. If someone doesn't find it exciting, I have nothing for them. It's not a criticism. You know, if somebody up on the street comes up to me, let's just take this a little bit to the absurd, but it's true. If somebody on the street comes up to me and says, I find flossing my teeth repetitive, and I find brushing my teeth repetitive, like, okay, thank you. Get your nasty ass breath away from me. But what I take home from that exchange is that this person is complaining about doing something they need to do as a mature adult to maintain their health. So what if it feels repetitive? If you don't like to do it, then don't do it. If the repetitive nature bores you, don't do it, but you're going to have to know the health consequences. I'm not going to shame you. You know, that's the big word we use in 2023, shaming. I'm not going to fit shame you. You don't want to lift, don't lift. Know the consequences. You want to eat donuts every day. You want to have a relationship with Little Debbie snack cakes. Go right ahead. I'm not going to judge you because, quite honestly, one life, do whatever you want. Go out with a bang. Little Debbie yourself any way you want. I'm not going to. I don't care. I don't care what anybody else does. But you need to know the consequences. But you know what triggers me is when someone says taking care of themselves feels repetitive. It is repetitive. Repetition's the nature of everything successful, John. And John, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but repetition and structure is the nature of everything successful. Michael Jordan in the gym every day, shooting, practicing. Repetitive. It feels repetitive because it is repetitive, but repetition is the key to success. You don't like it, you don't have to do it. No one, Michael Jordan didn't have to go and do all that practicing. You know, you just have to accept the consequences. Again, I'm not shaming you. I don't care. You do whatever you want. But yes, some things feel repetitive. Do you have to weigh your food? No. Do you have to even meal plan? No, but you have to have a meal structure. You have to know how many calories. You have to be consistent. There are certain rules in play, but they're not hard. Putting food in your mouth is not hard. Like if you're just training hard, and that's the easy part. I'm going to go to the gym, and I know I need to put 3,200 calories in my mouth to build muscle and have a 10-pound bulk over 5 months. Is it really that hard to hit 3,200 consistently, or are we being a lazy bitch? It's not that hard. Everything has a calorie label. And when we're like, acting like it's so extremely difficult to track or monitor calories, we are just simply being a lazy bitch. And that is what it is. It's repetitive to track calories. Yes, it is. I don't care if you track them. Know the consequences. You're going to get less out of your muscle building than the guy who is. Want me to bend the rules for you? Can't do that. And John, I don't know you personally, and I don't know your intentions, so I'm certainly not trying to pick on you. I'm not trying to lay all these burdens on you, but I'm just trying to speak in general because this gives me a really good platform to expound, right? So, repetition is the facilitator of success. Now, we live in an over-successed, culture, right? Everybody's pushing a concept of, not everybody, a lot of people pushing the concept that success is this or success is that. Having a nice car, nice watch, nice career, when success could just be, I get to go home every day and take a walk with my wife, right? That could be your happiness, your success. Live in a modest house, drive a modest car, and that's your idea of success, right? That's okay. We live in an over success, get up at 4 a.m., over structured day, grind world. And I love what I do for a living, and I work my living ass off doing it. But man, I need that balance. And you don't have to turn this into weighing your food a burden. Ballpark, stay within the ballpark, go train hard. It's easy, man. But if you find those things repetitive, you are going to end up in a place where you're going to start gaining weight or you're going to feel weak. And that's just what's going to happen. You're going to have to live with it. Irrelevant user. What is the use of lifts specialized in tempo and rep count for hypertrophy if you're training for the most on the mat? Strength comes from hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is a muscle building base. Right? Muscle gives you the platform for strength, but to build muscle, you have to progressively overload. So I don't do tempo lifting. I don't believe in tempo lifting. I believe in control lifting for a number of reasons. You control the weight or the weight controls you. If you're not controlling the weight, it's probably reckless, probably going to beat you up. Well, you don't need to do rep counts or anything. I don't believe in that at all. It's not a requirement for hypertrophy. It provides really no benefit. If you like to do it, but it provides no additional benefit. But you don't need to do it for strength. Big W Dale, you can build great legs without squats, indeed. Do muscle insertions affect strength or athletic performance? Muscle lengths, insertion points, all that kind of stuff can impact performance in various ways. I have a long bicep muscle belly, so when they are at my side, they look long and full, right? They look impressive. But when I curl them up and do a bicep shot, they look like potatoes, right? So with my long arms and my long biceps, when I do pull-ups, I suck at pull-ups, just naturally suck at pull-ups. And there's other factors involved, right? But they can affect athletic performance and specific movement patterns, et cetera, et cetera. Definitely not just cosmetic. I love training and can't stay out of the gym. Do you have any basic guidelines? 6 days per week. Well, I would need to know whether you like to do frequency or like to do body part. Body part gives you the most flexibility, but you could also take your upper lowers and split, or you could take your uppers like, chest and shoulders and combine them into 2 types of days. You could have a bonus arm junk day at the end. You could have 2 leg days. You could have 2 back days. There's many ways to do it. You just don't want to train. I don't like training biceps the day before back or chest. I did that this week. I trained back before chest this week, and on my chest day, my biceps were on the struggle bus and just didn't feel very, very good at all. So there's many ways to do it. You're not going to run into a wall, but you got to look at weekly volume, and you need to keep it reasonable. You also have to be realistic. I want to stay in the gym 6 days a week. Well, over like an endurance runner or an endurance swimmer or an endurance cyclist has to understand there's consequences for actions. I can't stop running. Okay, well, you need to realize you might beat the living crap out of your body. There's such a thing called overuse injuries. Wanting to do something and being a rational, reasonable human being and understanding it might not be the best for us physically, that's a healthy, constructive mindset. We have to be healthy mentally. I want to train every day, but it might contribute, not will, not always, might contribute to overuse injuries. Okay? So we have to have an awareness of that. Excuse me. And we have to be willing to adjust if that is the case. Do you think different genetic ab core shapes would absorb more? This is way out of my league, man. I don't think there's much of a difference. I don't think they're going to absorb. I don't know. This is way too theoretical for my brain. Importance of hypertrophy for strength. You can't have strength without hypertrophy. The strongest power lifters are also the biggest power lifters, almost to an individual. There was a study this year, and it was talked about a lot earlier in the year, where they analyzed they analyzed strong power lifters, and they found out almost to a person, the strongest power lifter was almost always the biggest power lifter. Now we can get all spazzy about this and be like, are you saying all you need to do is build muscle to build strength? No. But if we look at real world data, muscle building is the platform for strength. So are there going to be outliers and freaks and naturally strong individuals? Yes. But hypertrophy is essential. You need constant base building, muscle building. How come you recommend 150 grams of protein? Because anybody that just does things by body weight is an idiot. It's so naive and narrow-minded and stupid. I don't know what Jeff recommends, so I'm not calling him stupid. I'm calling the concept stupid. Any influencer that says just take your body weight times 1.6, this doesn't include activity levels or current body weight or age or any other factors. It's just stupid crap, and it's idiotic. I don't recommend 150 grams of protein. I recommend a minimum of 150 grams of protein for two reasons. This is for men. Women, it's more around 110. Two reasons. Number one, in my experience with lifters, Alpha Destiny, just talking with other lifters that are close, that have made a lot of progress over the course of their life, a lot of them don't really over focus on protein. 150, 160, 170. I think there's an over focus on protein, but I'm not telling you to bounce back and under focus on protein. But I think 150 is a minimum. If you want 170, 180, fine. If you want 200, 220, fine. If you like to eat more meat, fine. But if you're getting under 150, it's getting a little bit low on what I've seen from anybody that's achieved good quality results. Second, if your protein level is pretty low, then you're stuffing your diet with your diet's a little bit more unbalanced in carbs and fats, which is usually can be an indicator that you're eating more junk than you should be. Not always, but it can be an indicator that you might have more junk in your diet. From what I've seen, men that struggle to get to 150 grams of protein tend to, when you look at their diets, they tend to have a little bit more junk in there than you would like to see, to various degrees. Now, we don't ever want to apply anything versus body weight, right? 132-pound individual, guys, zip it. Multiplying 1.6, that's probably fine. If you're more normalized body weight, 160, that's probably fine. But what about the guy that I have clients right now that weigh 165 and need 4,500 calories a day? So this just all, number one, it's way overthinking. Number two, there's so many large individuals on planet Earth. The 240-pound, 22-year-old guy, all of a sudden he feels like he needs to eat like 320 grams of protein a day. Generic multipliers don't take into consideration activity levels, metabolism, possible obesity, which we live in an obesity epidemic, and dietary balance, right? It's better to set a minimum and also have an eye on dietary balance, right? If you do 150 grams of protein, but you need 4,700 calories to bulk, which is extreme, but it happens. You know, you can have some pretty, hey, my laundry lady's here.
Well,
How much-
you don't like to do any laundry.
Do I have to give you a tip?
Yes. Yes.
You want a tip?
I do what?
You want?
A verbal tip?
Yeah, come
I
here. I'll give you a tip.
for doing laundry.
I'll give you a tip. Here's your tip. Your training is going really well, but you don't even deadlift.
That's true. I don't. I don't squat. Don't deadlift.
You're not actually
I
physically fit if you don't
don't.
squat or deadlift.
I just use machines. That's all. I'm lazy.
Does not build your butt good enough.
Glute kickbacks is the best thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry to annoy you. Can
Come on.
how does it feel to be older? How does it feel to be?
Older grandma.
Look, there's 47 viewers right now. And you're 47.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You. The older, the more wiser.
Do you know why I'm happy it's the day after your birthday?
Why?
Because now we can get focused on my birthday, which is a few months ahead.
We only focused on my birthday for like
So
a day.
I'll focus on your birthday today. Would you
No
like?
one focused on my.
Would
I
you like
didn't
to go
get-
get some cheesecake for your birthday?
Go for a drive. Yes, we didn't even get any of that.
Let's go get some. Well, we did
Well,
go out
hurry
for.
up.
We
Hurry
got
up.
stop asking questions so we
Hurry
can go
up.
get cheesecake.
Yeah, I'm starving.
You assholes.
I'm starving.
All right.
From all the work I did. Okay, boys. Come on.
Rossi, happy birthday. Thank you. Strength training program advice, such as many exercise. It's the same as anything I do with any workout. All my workout is power building. It's strength and muscle base building. You know, so we're going to be focused on muscle building, but the structure is building a base for strength. So any of my workouts really. You don't need different exercises. You do the same base you need basically for muscle building. And then if you want to work in some more specific stuff, powerlifting focused, you can. Like a muscle builder might rotate between bench and incline. If you're an intermediate lifter that wants to lift for powerlifting in the off season, you could do Larson and regular bench. Does that make sense? So there can be some divergence, but the same structure is at play. What do you think of progressing conventional deadlifts for reps, keeping weight low enough to safely ride down? No, I'm not. You never want to safely, slowly ride down the eccentric. It's just way too much stress on the lower back. Not a good option in any universe. For lower backs, SSB Anderson, good morning, is good. You know, here's the issue though. Lifter hits the gym. Lifter does squats. Lifter does deadlifts. Lifter does RDLs. Lifter does dumbbell rows. Lifter does barbell rows. Lifter is building up strength. And one of the weaker muscle groups in lifter's body is the lower back. Lower back gets sore. Lower back takes a beating. So lifter thinks he needs lower back work. Nope. Generally, the lower back's overworked to begin with. What we need to do is temper the programming a little bit. We need to maybe work on it. Not maybe. We need to work on our exercise form. We need to maybe be a little bit less aggressive on pushing the grindy reps on squats and deads. We might need to reduce the volume we do by a set per exercise on like barbell rows and dumbbell rows. There are some things we can do from a programming standpoint which don't take the big lifts out of the picture, but that can reduce the overall impact on the lower back. Does that make sense? The new science-based influencers say flat bench is dead. I'm going to give you some advice. Picture, if you will, a dumpster in the back of Shitsville nowhere, filled with dried, dehydrated crap, woods, paper, garbage, rotting in there, long since picked over by the rats. And all the influencers that are saying the bench is dead, they're all in there starting a fire, lighting themselves on fire because they're fucking idiots. Excuse my language. I could not resist on that one. They're in a dumpster fire that's self-created. Forget these nonsense. This is trash. This is trash science. Science has to be based on some degree of what's occurring in the real world. So if somebody calls it science and they're completely ignorant of what's occurring in the real world, they're not scientists. They're a bunch of snake oil salesmen spewing crap for your views. That's what they are. You can tell them I called them trash. You can tell them I called them dumpster fire, fake scientists. You can call them whatever they want. That's what they are. Steel Rat goes to gym. Happy Friday, sir. Flat bench post dips. That's a great, I wouldn't say best. We have to be careful using the word best, but that's a good combination. There are many good combinations, but best gets into optimal territory, which is disingenuous. People don't realize your whole chest works during flat bench when done correctly. Have you heard of Sam Sulak? No, I haven't. I don't have time to watch other people generally, so I've not heard of them. Opinion on depth for dumbbell. Naturally, you don't have to like force this. There's not a magic depth. If you're doing your dumbbell press, are we talking about overheads or bench? See where my elbow is equal to my shoulder? That's way too high, right? So usually I look at about where my thumb is relative to my lower earlobe. Okay, so that's usually kind of the lowest I'm going to take it. If you want to take it down an inch or two lower and press it back up, that's fine. But natural. If it's higher than thumbs above earlobe, it's probably too high because you're just kind of doing a half. See that? You can bias different parts of a muscle, but you can't isolate parts of the muscle the way people think. Well, science kind of indicated at the beginning of the year that there can be some bias with different exercise choices. So I believe this to be true. Do I believe it to be overblown? Yeah. But it's one of the reasons why you can do movement patterns that are very similar, but they can produce, like if you were used to the leg press and you introduce the more horizontal leg press or the hack squat, you could be sore in ways you weren't sore before. So very similar movement patterns can stress a muscle very, very differently, right? So there is some indication that regional hypertrophy is a real thing. Now, let's not rush out to beat the drum and think we have to overthink this. I think the impact of it is a little bit overblown when it comes to the big picture training over the course of 5 to 10 years, but we can't rule out that it does have some minor impact. Timothy, that's what made me ask about the incline bench, because he said that, kind of said like a roid influencer. Is that who said it, guys? If you guys have names, I'm curious. I'm curious who I'm picking a fight with, right? I knew it sounded familiar. Was it Sam Simulak? Rack chins are great at helping to build pull-ups. Before I know it, Sam's going to have a video about me calling me an idiot. I'll be the idiot for sharing my scandalous thoughts. Rack chins are great helping to build up pull-ups. Owen, what's your opinion on the new product, the Mad Spotter? I think it's a self-spotter for dumbbell work. Mad Spotter. Let me. Where are you at? Are those the dumbbell hooks? Oh yeah, I got a couple. I've seen them over the years. I have no issues with them. I mean, for me, like when I am racking, weights, most of the dumbbells I've used. And let me just show you guys what they look like before we get all bent out of shape here. Let me see if I can copy the image address. Okay. This is going to be a better picture. Sorry. Hold on here, folks. I'm going to show you something. Got to pull the picture up. Okay, we found it. Let's present screen and share screen and Mad Spotter. All right. So you can see these things. You kind of put them there and you unrack and the dumbbell. I don't like them for a couple reasons personally. When I'm doing heavy ass weight, there's not a lot of wiggle room. So I'm going to either miss those things. I'm going to tip them. They're going to swing. And not only that, but there's not a lot of wiggle room left or right. So if you're racking two at the same time, you have to be super precise. They scare me. If you can use them, use them. I have clients that use them. They just personally scare me. That's all I'm going to say. If I got my hand on that dumbbell, there's not a lot of wiggle room. So just be safe. What are your thoughts on rowers on the assault bike? My thoughts on any form of cardio are do what you like. Do what you like. There's a lot of paranoia about cardio for strength and muscle building athletes or individuals or just average gym rats. It's way overblown. There's no downside. Just do it wisely and not before your workouts. Take care of yourself. Do the forms of movement you love 100%, my friend. Kettlebells are great for skull crushers. I'm not trying them for skulls, but I can definitely see that. Although you have mentioned that in the long run, split does not matter, correct? But do you think a torso limb split is overall better for flexibility? Flexibility, I hate the minimum, I hate to be like this, but it really, really comes down to the individual. It does. It really comes down to the individual. What they like, what works for them time in gym, what the gym setup is. It really, really does. If you miss a day, it's not that big of a deal. Upper posterior torso limbs types of splits where they're A-B rather than a lube where you have to get in we basically have to work out 4 days a week. They're definitely better for people that need more flexible schedules. Compound lifts plus weighted decline sit-ups built my abs to a great degree. That's good to hear. I do hex, conventional, and sumo. Can anyone like Jeffrey Verity or yourself, anybody can get like anybody that is, you look at Alpha Destiny, you look at Jeffrey Verity, you look at any of the top naturals, and don't compare your physique to them, but can you build 16 and a half, 17-inch arms lean? Absolutely. Can you get pretty damn strong, stronger than anybody in the gym? Absolutely. Happy Friday. Been a while, just coming on a cut, my leanest ever. Nice work, man. I don't know if you posted a picture of Massive Iron or if that's your photo, but make sure you post that up today so I can take a look. Nah, I don't really review. I don't want to review it. I had a couple clients that I reworked his program for them to make it better for them. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good program, but I don't really want to review his program. It's like, I'll leave it like this, right? There's different flavors of donuts for different types of donut eaters. And different pizza toppings. It's still all pizza. You know, when it comes to guys like him or GVS or Alpha Destiny, Alex, you know, they're going to have reasonable programs. It's more the guys that are outside of this realm, you know, I'd like to look at. Gary, you're so real. Unrealistic expectations is really killing your gains. The truth shall set you free. Always chase reasonable training. Reasonable training. Hey, Steve, I know the scale percentage is useless, but can we get used to it as an indicator? Yeah, I mean, he's talking about using like a scale that's doing body fat percentage. Can we use it as an indicator or a trend indicator? Yes. I would ask you guys to get a set of calipers and monitor that as well. It's going to be a better indicator, but it's an indicator that we can do. We just don't often do. How's the app coming along? Good. We're going to have another update within a week or two. That's a training app we're working on. And no luck on the motorcycle logo. My wife's had 4 contests in the last 4 weeks. I think this weekend's my first weekend off. I would like to run 12 weeks of a bodybuilding program. They're really the same thing. I mean, I'd like to know what the powerlifting program is. Off-season powerlifting is just muscle building, really. But there can be more powerlifting specific style programs. As long as they have base building, muscle building in the mix, you're good. Big Hairy Ugly Dude, good day. What kind of people you see on Team Massive? What kind of people you see on Team Massive to success with their goals and not stay where they at? Anybody that's successful anywhere is being consistent with training and nutrition, and they're being patient and they're being safe. You know, so Team Massive or anywhere else. Adam, I'm stalled. Adam's using the S word. Been on the same weight for 7 reps for 4 weeks. How's your weight doing, buddy? Your weight moving up? How's that nutrition? You nailing that nutrition? I need to know more, but if you want to work in 3s 1 week and 5, 10, 10, 20 the other, you can. But I want to know what your strength levels are at. What weight are you using, and what's your body weight? That'll help me. I have a weird, pointless question. There are no stupid questions, just stupid people. That's just a bad joke. So I wear cowboy boots with a tall heel. More than anything, people worry about mobility on the squat, but more than anything, 90% of the time it's form, to be honest with you. How effective is the 5, 10, 10, 20? It's a good program. It's for mostly chest. If you want to do it on squats, you might do 4, 8, 8, 12, but it's mostly chest. And I've had a lot of people that have gotten great bumps on this program, and it's been around a long time. You know, we're talking 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 pound bumps on their bench just by running a few cycles of it. So it's worth trying. Graybeard Mark turning in later, but catch you on the replay. Thank you, sir. I'm trying your threes. I did overhead press and then 2 back down sets. That's correct. So start with like 135 max safe reps and then do like 120 and 105 for your back down sets. John, if I can work out 3 days, 1 week, and 40x next. Good question. So if you need flexibility, but I would put the leg day on the same day each week, like a Friday or a Monday. And then I would have alternate between 2 other days. So you have your leg day on a static day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is. And then you have 2 other workout pillars, like you could have chest and shoulders, back and arms, which might work. And then you could rotate between those. Chest, shoulders, back, arms. How about that? So 1 leg day. I'm typing this in because this is a program I might want to put together. 1 leg day plus rotate between chest, delts. This is actually a really good idea. And back arms. So you're doing back arms up to chest delts, and that's 1 leg day a week. That's a flexible schedule. So I think it was just a really good idea, and I want to put that on paper so I can help somebody else, that might want to use that in the future. I find women very, whoa, my doggy, what you doing? Come here, buddy. I didn't know you by the chair. Come here, buddy. I didn't know you're by the chair, little buddy. What are you doing, little buddy? I didn't know you're by the chair. I find women very happy to please. Very happy to please. I have a hard time making my wife very hard to please, I think he's saying. I have a hard time making my wife happy. She's unpredictable and changes her mind constantly. I don't know what to do. You just shut up and take out the garbage, my friend. You just shut up and take out the garbage. And don't ever ask her what she wants for dinner. She'll say, I'm flexible. Whatever. You'll say, okay, how about pizza? No. How about Italian? No. How about sushi? No. How about Mexican? No. Right, buddy? Right. I hear a lot that cow's milk is supreme, the hype. It's good. It's not supreme. Supreme is a balance of quality protein sources. Besides the fat content, there's a lot of good nutrition and phytonutrients and phytochemicals in cow's milk, so it's great from that standpoint. Milk is just, we can all get into the argument, is cow's milk for humans, so on and so forth, but milk inherently has some pretty amazing natural structure to it. It's built to sustain life, so we have to kind of pay attention to it. I think it's not a bad addition to have in your day. You don't have to use it, but I think having some dairy is good. Doug Hepburn for late novices. I really, really, really don't. It's a program that I've made videos about over the years, and I've written articles about over the years. It's one of those sexy programs that we like to talk about, but it's just way too minimal for my liking. I just find it way, way too minimal. This buddy boy down here, he's just chilling, enjoying the belly rubs. Right, buddy boy, you got the good life. You're the best boy I ever knowed. You're the good boy. Big Hairy Ugly Dude, I appreciate your time and information. Thank you. Please, can you provide an example of what it means it can be consistent? Well, number one, the ultimate cornerstone of consistency in nutrition is calorie consistency. Okay. If your calories aren't consistent, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, we don't need to micromanage. What we mean is consistent to the degree that they move the scale where the scale needs to go. So you can have consistent calories, but if the scale's not moving, you're probably not building much muscle. You can have consistent calories, but if the scale's not going down, you're not losing fat. So we have a goal, fat loss, muscle building. Where are we going? Do our calories align with that goal? If not, then we need to adjust that. So calories are the ultimate, okay? Protein is the next on the rung. If you have a lot of calories, but you don't have a lot of protein, you're probably relying on a lot of junk in your diet. So you probably need to raise your protein. Now, there's other layers to this. If you're trying to lose weight and you're eating a lot of fat, it's harder to get in your protein, quality, or your protein grams. You're eating a lot of fat. It just makes it harder to fit in your protein. But nutritional consistency is calories relative to your goal. That's the simplest way to put it. And making sure you get in your protein as a backup. What do you enjoy doing with a small amount of free time? Movies, and generally just getting out and exploring. Life with my wife, 100%. Is it a good idea to program the big three for one session a week? I mean, you could do it. I've never programmed all three in a day. That's a brutal session. You'd probably have to rotate intensity, meaning like bench could kind of be the meat in the sandwich, right? You could do squats, bench, and then moderate deads. And then next week, deads, bench, and then moderate squats. You could do it. If it was structured wisely, absolutely. It might be a fun program. Steve, do you think coaching is more valuable early on? I think it is more valuable when we are unsure about form and we are unsure about programming and unsure about nutrition. So getting someone to set you on the tracks with programming, with nutrition, with form, and getting to spend, I'd like to say 3 months is enough, but it's not usually enough. If you can get on the tracks for a year with programming, with nutrition, with all that good stuff, then you're probably going to see pretty good quality results, and you're probably going to learn all the mistakes and all the common issues. In my routine, how can I replace low bar squats in the 5 to 7 rep range with Smith squats? Well, you can do whatever rep range you want. I would probably do on the Smith squats. You can do a 5 to 7 rep and then do some back down sets. You might want to consider doing some lower rep squat work, for more volume that doesn't require as many, warm up sets. That's an option as well. Leg press. Sam Sulek, the guy is on so many rudes. Let me just search what we got here. I don't want to get in a war with people. I will always remember that we're in a conversation about ideas, not attacking people. So when I say like a bench is, here we go. Like someone that says bench is outdated or whatever, I say that's idiotic. It's an idiotic statement. I don't know. I'm just going to say this. The more PEDs you take, the more anything can really be optional. Should I buy a Bowflex? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've had some people use them. I think you can get some use out of it. I don't know if it's worth the value as compared to getting dumbbells. Donuts. Gary DeBreezy. No, you have it wrong with dumbbell hooks. They're meant to begin with. I know. You put the dumbbells on the floor and then re-rack them for the next set. I know, but the re-racking part is what scares me.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi network. You can find setup instructions in
Alexa.
the help section of your Alexa app.
No, Gary, I get that, but racking them at the end of a set's what I'm talking about. Well, you're saying you only start with them. Okay, I get it. I see what you're saying, and I am wrong. That makes a lot of sense because my brain really never spent a lot of time considering that. So starting from on high, that could be okay, but it still scares the pee out of me a little bit because unracking a heavy bench, it's easier for me to get dumbbells in position sitting back than to unrack them from high. So I would still err on the side of not doing it. Bulking. When a trainee is on his or her third or more bulking phase, what rate of weight gain? I think maintaining a reasonable weight gain, regardless of your stage, is okay. So let's use 10 pounds. Let's say you're a pretty beefy lifter. You have some good muscle, right? You know you're not going to be gaining 10, 15 pounds of muscle a year, right? So you know your rate isn't going to be that glorious. You could still use a 10 pound over 5 months, but we also have to factor in how brutal is our training, because the more advanced you get or more intermediate you get, the harder your training gets. So having extra calories might provide benefit just from recovery and repair, right? So is it going to expedite muscle building? Maybe not. So doing 10 pounds over 4 months might still be a good idea. You still have to do a 10-pound cut, but you have extra calories to handle that hard training. Does that make sense? Last call for questions, guys. We got about 6 left in the queue. 1 day leg day plus rotate. That's what I put in. Such an idiot. That's what I put in as a memory. Do you recommend new clients hit their weight goal before asking for your help? No. Because I know from coaching, a lot of people don't reach their weight goal. So you need sometimes that little bit of accountability. Take out the trash, you boo-boo baby. Exactly. That's referencing doing what you need to do in life. Give me that dog. This is the best dog ever. I don't know what it is. He just attached to me. Buddy boy, are you the best boy I ever knowed? You're the good boy, aren't you? The best boy. You're the best boy, buddy boy. He's sleepy. He's like, Dad, I was sleeping. You ever train a plant-based client? Yeah, I mean, we just focus on calories and protein. We don't do anything different. It's all really about calories and protein. And if they need help, I help them in however way I can help them. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Massive Iron Live. It's been a good 2 hours and 4 minutes today. I appreciate your guys' time. Just a reminder, if you have any more questions or you tuning in late, don't go away yet. You can head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, at Ben the Barman. Slide into my DM, and I do Q&As over there a couple times a week. Thank you, Yvonne. I appreciate it. I do Q&As over there a couple times a week, and you can just slide into my DM with questions if you need them. And I appreciate your support, sir. Thank you as well. If you guys need anything, head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, superlivingtoday.com. You have whey protein, creatine. We have all kinds of cool apparel. I just encourage you guys, whether it's me or any other small content producer you support, to support them. I'm not a supplement company. I have good products. I'm not an apparel company. I have good products. But you got to wear something. You got to eat something. And that $5, I encourage you guys to support the good guys in the industry, whoever that is for you. Whoever is being true, support them with your money and support them with your time. And one of the best things you can do in life when it comes to curating or when it comes to better results is curating your content. So gravitate towards those that provide you value and keep you motivated and keep you on the right track. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'm out of here.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.